Girls, it's Miss DeAngelis with your skills lesson. Let's take a look at what we're going to learn today. We will review and read tricky spellings for G, J, and GE. Reread the story of the picnic by the river and answer comprehension questions about the key details in the text. Building sentence. Read the sentence with me. Gus runs. Who is the sentence about? Right, it's about Gus. Gus is a proper noun. Gus runs. What does Gus do? Right, Gus runs. It's a verb, so I underlined it with a squiggly line. Where does Gus run? Right, Gus runs at the park. We put where he runs and made it a more detailed sentence. Kate found a coin. Who is the sentence about? Right, it's about Kate. And Kate is the proper noun. So we're going to circle Kate. Kate found a coin. What did Kate do? Right, she found a coin. So I drew a squiggly line under the verb. What type of coin did Kate find? Let's add more details. What could we write? Kate found the coin in the cave. Deshawn visits the bookshop. Who are they talking about? Right, Deshawn. And what was the verb? Right, he visits the bookshop. Jace hops on one foot. Who is the sentence about? Right, it's about Jace. And what does Jace do? Jace hops on one foot. Let's go to the next one. Roger slips on the ice. Who is the sentence about? Circle the pronoun or the proper noun. Right, the sentence is about Roger. And what did Roger do? Right, Roger slips on the ice. Ming slides into home base. Who is the sentence about? What is the proper noun? Right, it's about Ming. And what does Ming do? Right, Ming slides into home base. Now let's review the tricky spelling G. We're reviewing this, and you learned this in Unit 5. These are the possible pronunciations. On one side, you hear the G sound in gum, G, glad, G, and dog. On the number 2 side, you hear a J in germ and gem. These words have the G pronounced as J rather than G. This could possibly cause problems when reading. That's why we call G a tricky spelling, because it can be pronounced more than one way. Words. As I read the words, I want you to think about what they might be spelt with. Either J or G, or if they're at the end of the word, the GE. Jump. What do you think jump starts with? J, G, or GE? Right. It starts with J. It sounds how it starts. How about the word germs? Germs. This one could be tricky, but it was one of your spelling words. Right. It starts with G. How about the word large? Where do you hear the large sound? Right, towards the end, and it ends in G-E. Let's look at the next word. Jar. What do you think jar starts with? You got it, J. How about the word gem? Gem. Right, this is another one of your spelling words, and it does start with G. And the last one we're going to look at is the word charge. You hear the j sound towards the end, which means what? Right, that it has a G-E at the end. Today's story is about some surprise visitors that show up at Grace's family picnic. We read this story yesterday, so we're just going to review this today, and then we will do our questions. And quickly. For example, the cookie crumbs off the table. Glanced. Looked very quickly. For example, we glance out the window to see if it was snowing. Picnic by the river. Last summer, the Spencers had a picnic by the river. They had a picnic basket filled with food. It was stuffed with all sorts of good things: chicken wings, ham, grapes, chips, and cupcakes. Mr. Spencer set the picnic basket down. Grace and Jill went for a swim in the river. After their swim, the children raced back to the spot where the picnic basket was. When they got there, there were ants marching down the side of the picnic basket. The ants were marching off with some of the food. The Spencers had set their basket down next to the center of a big anthill. "Yikes!" shouted Grace in a loud voice. "Who asked those ants to this picnic?" Mr. Spencer picked up the picnic basket and brushed off the ants. Much of the food was in plastic bags, so it was safe from the ants. Grace and Jill rinsed off the grapes after they brushed off the rest of the ants. The Spencers sat down and ate their picnic lunch. This time, they sat far from the center of the anthill. After lunch, Mr. Spencer asked, "Should we pack up our stuff and get back to the farm?" "Not yet," said Grace, and glanced back at the anthill. She smiled and slipped some bits of cupcake and ham into her pocket. Then she ran to the anthill. She set the bits out your skills page and write your name and date on the top, just like I did. And we're going to answer our comprehension questions. Number 1, what was in the picnic basket? Right. The picnic basket was filled with food. There were chicken wings, ham, grapes, chips, and cupcakes. Please try to write on the line. I know I didn't write exactly on the lines, but it's because I couldn't fit all the typing in. So just make sure you try your best to do finger spaces and start on the line. Pause the video if you need more time to write. Number 2, where had the Spencers set down their picnic basket? Right. Mr. Spencer set their basket down next to the center of a big anthill. Number 3, why was the food in the picnic basket safe from the ants? Right. Much of the food was safe from the ants because it was in plastic bags. Make sure you're still using your finger spaces and no floating letters on the line. Number 4. What did Grace do for the ants at the end? Right. At the end, Grace set up bits of cupcake and ham on the ground for the ants. This completes today's skills lesson. Make sure you send a picture of your completed work to your teacher. Great job today, boys and girls.